Oh, gamers. So today, Carputing updated his computer to Windows 11 24H2, the newest big build. It's been trying to do that for the past couple months, but every time it does, it blue screens and rolls back for like an hour. So I thought this morning, you know what? Let's see if it's at a stable point yet. I'm going to install 24H2 and see what happens. So I went to do it, and then I started getting a bunch of blue screens like key page fault, and I don't know, like 3 or 4 different messages. Something in non-paged area, I don't know. Anyways, so I tried letting it roll back for like an hour and a half. That didn't work because every time it started to get too attempting to roll back, it just blue screened. So after I tried ChatGPTing some CMD commands to fix the boot partitions and all that stuff, and none of that worked. So at that point, the OS was like broken. I'm like, well, okay, I guess I got to reinstall it. So thankfully, I'm smart enough that my documents, pictures, videos, all that stuff is on a separate drive from my boot drive. I've got a few SSDs in. Um, so yeah, I reinstalled Windows and it just kept blue screening whenever it tried installing. I'm like, oh, that sucks. So I tried Windows 23H2, it did that too. And then I tried Windows 10, it did that also. I tried with the official Microsoft installers, I tried with Rufus, and nothing wanted to work properly. So eventually, by midday, I figure out, okay, is the SSD broken? Like, is it? I was thinking it was an SSD issue. The SSD wouldn't write anymore, or something like that. But it was really strange because it would never. If you're in IT, you know it's annoying when things don't work and it's always consistent. I've been working with this, and it's like every time I do something, it would blue screen, and then I'd restart it, and then I'd go to install Windows, and then it would get like 50% through the installer instead of blue screening right away, and then I'd restart and it'd blue screen right away, and then I'd restart, and then it'd get all the way through the installer, then it'd boot into starting services and all that stuff after it's installed from the USB. Got there like 2 or 3 times. And then it just kept blue screening no matter what I tried, and then it threw a different error saying like the Windows installs broke, reinstall Windows. So I'm like, okay. So after all that, I'm just holding my iPhone here, sorry. After all that, I was like, yeah, is the SSD broken? Can it not write anymore? Because like there's no integrated GPU with my motherboard. I have a Z790 Godlike Max motherboard, 4090 graphics card, an Intel 14900KS processor, and a Crucial T705 4TB SSD. So I was thinking like, okay, I have no integrated graphics, and I'm getting like display on the screen regardless of if Windows is installing or not. So it can't be the GPU, like being broken. So and like I could boot into a live install of Arch Linux fine, or of Ubuntu fine to move some files around and test stuff. So that happened. And so I took the SSD out and I slapped it in one of my laptops and I installed Windows on that, and it worked. I'm like, okay. So I put it back in my computer. It's like early afternoon now. Right now it's like mid afternoon. So I put it back in the computer, and it got into Windows on Windows 11 24H2. So the newest build. First time so this computer did run it. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I started trying to like install stuff and update stuff, and I got like halfway through installing my programs and drivers. When I would just go to open Windows Explorer and it would just close. I'd go to open the Windows settings and it would just close. Like, okay, that I tried to power through it, but at some point I was like, you know what, no, this ain't working. So I reinstalled again, 24H2, take the SSD out. Every time I take the SSD out, I have to take out my graphics card because of how my PC is. So, anyways, I took out the graphics card, swapped all the SSDs with laptop, tried again, didn't work. And now I'm on my third attempt of swap the SSD in the laptop, install OS, put it back in the desktop, see what happens. And this is an install of 23H2, the previous, before the current major Windows update, and it like seems to be working okay. Is it gonna open? Yeah, so that's absolutely the most stable we've been so far today. Like it just kept crashing File Explorer and the settings thing, and that's been very frustrating. I don't know how 24H2 made it out of production. Microsoft has been so downhill since Windows 7, and I'm not going to be a boomer and use Windows 7 because I have a modern PC, and for things to work good, you got to try to stay with the modern stuff. But oh my god, Windows 11, Windows 10 was worse. Okay, I hated for usability it was worse. Stability it was better. Windows 10 was more stable, but it was worse to use. I hated the freaking tiles. I hated all the settings and stuff. It's still horrible in Windows 11, but it's more usable and more configurable. But holy crap. Oh, this has been a very frustrating day. And I just thought I'd record a YouTube video just to say, like, hey, that's what Carputing's been up to. I just needed to get that little talk out. You folks have a great day. No, I'm not going to try Linux because I want to try I want to play Fortnite, and you can't. You just can't. Don't tell me you can. You can't. You cannot play Fortnite on Linux. I'm not setting up some GPU pass-through bullshit. No. Okay, I need Windows. I like Linux for like personal computers doing your stuff, but for gaming, this has a friggin' 4090 and an Intel 14900KS in it. This is a Windows machine, okay? I hate it too, but we need to deal with it, okay? All right, have a nice day, folks.